canceled a trip to Georgia this morning after the suicide bomb assassination of that country's president by separatist rebels from the Abkhazia region. Continued fighting in the Abkhazia and South Ossetia regions has hindered Georgia's hopes of integration into Western institutions. Industry baron Kombain Nikolad seized power today in a bloodless coup, installing himself in the presidential palace behind a wall of political and military support. The charismatic billionaire plans on holding elections within a matter of days to affirm his seat of power and promises a pristine and profitable relationship with America and the West. Bringing high-speed fiber optic connectivity to areas of Eastern Europe that less than a decade past didn't have telephones. The technological leap is due largely to the efforts of rising information industries in the Netherlands, and especially Georgia, where the Vice President called his visit to Georgia an honor, and called Georgian President Kombain Nikolads a man with his eyes on the future.
This is going to sting.
Go ahead.
Hold that.
Christ, this is spooky.
What's that?
Grim's sticking wires in your head, man.
I just need to sync the encryption signature between his subdermals and Fort Meade.
Don't light that.
I know. It's for after we land. You better hurry up, Grim. We touch down in Georgia in 15.
I'm already done. Lambert? Hey, Irving, do you read me?
Tell her I read her.
He reads you.
Good. You ready to get to work?
I'd feel better if I knew what was going on.
You know what you need to. The CIA lost a mole inside Georgian President Kombain Nikolads' cabinet. Her name is Alice Madison. They sent in Agent William Robert Blaustein to find her and lost him too.
Are we working with the CIA's cooperation?
Blaustein is outfitted with subdermals just like yours. That'll be your best lead to find him.
You didn't answer my question.
We'll tell you what you need to know. You're not out there alone, Fisher. Through me, you're attached to a dozen of the best NSA minds we have. There are political complexities with Georgia you'd need a week to understand.
I've just about memorized this speech, Lambert.
Well, start believing it. This is Third Echelon's maiden voyage, and we need it to go smooth as butter. You're about to touch down in Georgia. Get ready.
Mark a steady rise in Georgia's economy. Once central to the former Soviet Union's development and manufacture of weapons, Georgia has recently resurfaced as a potential player in the world military industry, with active contracts in Russia, Turkey, Germany, and even has stated the need, especially in these times, for a reliable source of oil in the Middle East. Commerce Secretary Moore, on a visit to Azerbaijan this morning, noted the tiny nation's enormous potential for oil, calling on American investors to provide the necessary funds for tapping the reserves.
In many ways, a leader from a bygone era. His beliefs are very firmly founded in Georgian orthodoxy. His political standings more in line with the early 20th century.
Would you fault him, then, as a politician?
No, not at all. Kombain Nikolads is all politician. He's done wonders for the Georgian economy. A brilliant tactician. It's more a question of ethics.
And ethically speaking?
Well,
Georgian special forces have taken hold of villages scattered throughout Azerbaijan. Incredibly, Kombayn-Nogolads appears to have been able to move thousands of troops across the border over a course of weeks, completely hidden from both local and international authorities through a high-tech. Number of Azerbaijani casualties are unknown, but early estimates number in the high.
The freedom-loving people of the world cannot stand idly by and allow an act of such staggering inhumanity and scale.
In their third day of fighting, U.S.-led NATO troops took 3 more Azerbaijani villages occupied by Georgian special forces. U.S. troops met only light resistance and suffered minimal casualties. The Georgian commando cells are becoming increasingly hard to locate as military intelligence suffers repeated. Kombayn-Nogolads has vanished, along with his top military advisors. Speculation points to Nogolads' fear of a war crimes tribunal as motivation. A 2-minute webcast from locations unknown, Georgian President Kombayn-Nogolads called America and its allies an army of scarecrows, declaring them helpless to defend themselves or their homeland. The precise nature of Nogolads' threat, experts fear, could make itself known within.
How much longer is this gonna take?
Your daughter's on the line. Just running the encryption.
Black hell!
What's up, Grim?
The data you glommed off the rig. There's no way the Georgians could have gotten this much intel without a man inside the CIA.
Fisher, you're up.
Dad?
Sarah, hi.
Where are you?
On my way home.
I thought you were gonna call last week.
Something came up. I'm, sorry.
That's all right. Were you in Georgia?
Honey, you know I can't answer that.
Yeah, I know. I was just watching it on TV. Oh!
Sarah? Sarah!
Hey!
Whoa! Grim's daughter, Wilkes. You okay?
I think so.
Hope everybody's all right back there. We just had a faulty collision warning. I've never seen anything like it. Entire herd went haywire.
Anybody have a line back to 3rd Echelon?
I'm here, Fisher.
What the hell's going on?
Nogolads just declared war on the U.S.
What?
The Georgians hit our communications, transportation, power grids. We still don't know how extensive the damage is.
What's our defense? What are we doing?
What do we have? Nogolads caught us with our pants down. All we've got is the laptop you pulled off the oil rig.
My daughter just...
I know. I've got people heading over there. This whole country's a mess.
I need to see Sarah.
You know what you need to do. We're helpless until we find Nogolads. You're heading for the CIA. Your mission just became critical.
Failure at the Red Bear Army Community Hospital in Mississippi resulted in 17 deaths and over 30 injuries. Both county electricity and backup generators were destroyed, leaving. Military train traveling to Norfolk, Virginia collided with a commuter rail line after an apparent failure of its automated routing system. U.S. military has not released the contents of the train's cargo, though federal authorities have evacuated a 20-mile radius surrounding the wreckage. Though no official death toll has been given, initial reports indicate the deaths of over 40 enlisted men. Potential civilian casualties are believed to be much lower.
Newspapers talking about cyber terrorism, an information crisis, information warfare. Call it what you will, but realize that no American is safe until we mobilize our army.
Rescue workers, their information grid entirely disabled, were unable to respond to the crash for nearly an hour. Injuries became fatalities as. To Kombayn-Nogolads, the Georgian president still in hiding. Though his first wave of cyber terrorism focused on military targets, intelligence proposes that a large-scale civilian target could just as easily.
We have faced terror before and triumphed. I promise here to the American people that we will triumph again. Earth is too small a place for the perpetrators of these acts to hide. The United States and her allies will enact a justice that is swift, true, and absolute.
Appeared on the internet at 3 o'clock this morning.
My declaration of war against the United States of America and its allies. Until every last foreign soldier has left Georgia, this war will continue on American soil and around the world, claiming the lives of the aggressors. The scales of power have been newly balanced, and we will no longer accept the tyranny of the United States.
Blamed the U.S. media for their part in spreading Kombain Nikoladz's message. Ironic counterpoint to the situation at home, U.S. soldiers in Georgia and Azerbaijan have spent their fifth night without combat. Though tensions remain high, military intelligence has been unable to locate any remaining Georgian commando. Have dramatically increased their efforts to find Kombain Nikoladze. U.S. intelligence is combing a constantly expanding search radius extending from Georgia. Each new country another possible secret alliance with the...
Because what we have here is a situation where further airstrikes just won't do any good. Nikoladze's army, if that's what you want to call it, is a bunch of...
As mourning relatives prepare funeral services, America's law enforcement and military forces prepare for the unknown, waiting for Kombain Nikoladze's next move.
What's that you're reading?
Flash notes on Edison Bend. How's that connection coming?
I don't think Sarah's home.
Fisher,
Lambert?
you're going to be signal hunting the next couple of missions. We trace the data stream as far as a submarine dock called Oktibet, but we lose it there.
Encryption?
Partly, but it has more to do with the nature of Nikoladze's network. It's been cobbled together from microwave relays, local lines, line-of-sight stuff, anything they could find. I'll come back with more details once you're on the ground.
What do you got for me?
No answer, man. Here, you can leave a message.
Hi, we can't come to the phone right now, so please leave a message. Thanks.
Sarah? Sarah, if you're there, pick up. This is Fisher. Dad. I'm just checking up on you. I'm sure you're fine. It was real good to see you. You can leave me a message at my office when you get this. Just let me know you're doing all right. Bye.
Fisher, you sweet talker.
Shut up, Wilkes.
Sorry. You might want to grab hold of something. Looks like we're flying into a storm.
President David Bowers personally thanked agents of the FBI for their patriotic heroism in the Halloween night apprehension of 3 Georgian mercenaries from the Kalinatek building in downtown Langley. All 3 Georgian mercenaries have been identified as current employees of the Russian Secret Service. NATO inspectors and U.S. intelligence have begun focusing their search for Kombain Nikoladze on Russia and its satellites. Though the Kremlin has denied any involvement, diplomatic relations have become the sabotage of the ventilation system, resulting in a radiation leak that covered over 40 square miles of coastal New Jersey. Although there were no immediate casualties, authorities expect to see the full extent of the damages manifest themselves in the coming decades as shaken by Nikoladze's latest act of information terrorism against the Edison Bend nuclear reactor. The vice president stated that the attack has only strengthened American resolve to find and stop the hidden Georgian leader. Revealed moments ago caught U.S. intelligence completely by surprise. The video webcast by their Georgian captors shows the soldiers mistreated but in apparent good health. The Army has not yet released the identity.
What I mean is, how far will we let this go? I mean, this isn't a war, and we're not winning it. And even if we could win, what would we gain? We need to get out of Georgia. What do we as Americans gain from all of this?
Still don't know how many graves we're gonna find in Azerbaijan, but the refugee camps alone are an outrage. What Kombain Nikoladze has done is beyond.
NATO inspectors are meeting light resistance in their investigation into Russia's possible support of Kombain Nikoladze's campaign of terror against the United States. Diplomatic channels remain open, but grow more strained with each. Has called the Georgian information crisis a high-tech Vietnam, citing the enormous cost, ambiguous cause, and bewildering loss of... said that Russia must cooperate more fully with NATO inspectors if they wish to avoid an escalation to hostilities.
What is the Kremlin trying to hide?
has cleared Russia of any support for Khambain Nicoladze or involvement in the Georgian information crisis. Though tensions have eased on one front, the situation collapsed, causing massive flooding after drainage systems were remotely overridden by. Authorities released the identity today of another of the captured U.S. soldiers. John Willard, age 19, of Raleigh, North Carolina, had been in the service barely. The latest attack in Khambain Nicoladze's information crisis. 37 security and emergency services personnel have been declared dead, with unknown casualties among employees at the dam. Still little to no progress in the search for Khambain Nicoladze, as U.S. intelligence.
Got a nephew serving in the Marines over there, and we just want him to know that we're thinking of him. We want you to come home safe. I hope home is safe to come to when you get here.
All non-essential personnel from the American Embassy in China were called back to the States earlier today in what analysts speculate could be preparation for Chinese hostilities. President Bowers made an official statement this morning affirming his belief in NATO's presence in Georgia.
We are in this for the long haul. America will not bow to Khambain Nicoladze's campaign of.
Relations with China were already strained over disarmament negotiations, and the suspicion of involvement in the Georgian information crisis may very well push both sides. 2 days without updates as to health and well-being of the captured American soldiers, whose families today will be granted a personal audience with Vice President. As the crisis continues, and still no intelligence leading to the whereabouts of Khambain Nicoladze or his military leadership.
I'm killed. They shot me. I don't want to die.
You'll be all right.
What's it supposed to feel like? You've been shot more than anybody I know. I'm gonna be okay.
Wilkes.
I'll live.
You're dying, Wilkes.
Are you all right?
Is that a joke?
I'm sorry.
We're turning.
You're headed for Myanmar. The mission's not over.
What about Wilkes?
We're scrambling for a replacement. We might have a runner in Japan we could borrow, a woman named Cohen.
What's in Myanmar?
Nicoladze. We used the Chevron nickel data to pinpoint him at the Chinese embassy in Rangoon.
Chinese support for the Georgians?
The political situation isn't good. If they are backing Nicoladze, you better find rock-solid proof. I don't want to go into World War III without a good reason. You've got some time before you reach Rangoon. Do you want me to patch a secure phone line so you can talk to Sarah?
No.
Disaster was narrowly averted at the Pickett Gap water treatment plant in Tennessee. Plant management attribute the malfunction to a remote viral attack, possibly the latest act of terror in the Georgian information crisis. Still have no leads in the search for Khambain Nicoladze. NATO and charity groups working in Azerbaijan continue to uncover the corpses left from what was only the beginning of the Georgian president's campaign of high-tech terror. If not for the swift intervention of plant employees, hundreds or even thousands could have become life-threateningly ill from contaminated water.
They say we're safe and all right, but then they tell us to boil our water.
Seeing the disaster averted at Pickett Gap, a possible turning point in the Georgian information crisis, marking the first time American authorities were able to recognize and overcome one of Nicoladze's acts of terror. Described early diplomatic negotiations with China a mixture of silence and antagonism. The Chinese claim that the U.S. are using suspicions of Georgian support as an unfounded excuse to inspect Chinese weapons stores, and have so far refused cooperation. If possible, lending an even greater urgency to the search for Kumbain Nikolads. Though the evidence itself has not been revealed, U.S. intelligence is claiming to have proof of China manufacturing nuclear weapons, a blatant infraction of international treaties. China has made an unmitigated denial of the charges, restating the belief that diplomatic talks with China continue to crumble. U.S. military forces are mobilizing towards the anticipation of possible hostilities. China again denies any involvement in Kumbain Nikolads' "Oh my God!" broadcast through the internet just minutes ago.
Cannot allow my nation to be subjected to the blatant international despotism of the United States or the cronyism of its allies. The world is not yours alone, and the soldiers you send into it are all equally guilty of American fascism. At 5:30 p.m. Greenwich Standard Time, the United States soldiers captured in a just war against their motherland will be executed. Their deaths broadcast for the world to watch.
Since the unexplained interruption of the webcast executions, no information of the captured American soldiers has surfaced. Has instated a complete media blackout regarding diplomatic negotiations between the U.S. and China. Authorities warn of the very real possibility of Georgian mercenaries releasing falsified news reports. The possibility that China was in any way involved in the still unconfirmed execution of American soldiers, in the hope that the crisis can be averted before leading to world war.
Fisher, it's time we talked about the Ark.
What is it?
What Nikolads wants most in the world, and what we're going to catch him by.
That's all we know?
We know the Ark is hidden somewhere inside the Georgian presidential palace, and we know Varlam Kristavi is letting him take it.
Who's Kristavi?
The new president of Georgia, pushed into power by our friends at the CIA.
It doesn't make sense.
We'll do the thinking. Your primary mission in Georgia will be Nikolads. We get him and the game's over. The good guys win.
Were you talking to Lambert?
Yeah. How soon before we touch down in Georgia?
We don't. You'll be making a halo jump.
Goody.
Dad, is that you?
Hey, Sarah. It's good to hear your voice.
Are you coming home? The TV said you guys beat Nikolads.
It's not that simple.
So you're not coming home?
No, honey. Not yet. But soon.
A collective sigh of relief as the U.S. returned to a state of amicable diplomacy with China. The swift action of the CIA and Chinese intelligence revealed a splinter faction of the Chinese military covertly supporting the Georgian information crisis, declaring a national day of mourning for those lost in the Georgian information crisis. Confirms the consummate defeat of Kumbain Nikolads' cyber warriors. The acts of information terrorism have come to an end, and in a ceremony later today, President Bowers will be issuing an official thanks to the CIA, FBI, and U.S. Special Forces for their role in bringing an end to the crisis. Though his whereabouts are still unknown, Kumbain Nikolads is essentially powerless.
We have torn off the scorpion's claws. We have severed his tail, and he cannot stay hidden for long.
An 8-story apartment building and surrounding 4 blocks in Hopegate, Maryland, were evacuated today by the National Guard. Authorities cited a gas leak as the reason for the evacuation, stressing that today's events had no relation whatsoever to Kumbain Nikolads or the Georgian information crisis. Hopegate, less than half an hour from downtown Washington, D.C., will, since the recovery and confirmed identity of President Kumbain Nikolads' corpse 5 days ago. Palace guards fatally shot President Nikolads in the midst of what appears to have been an attempted ousting of acting President Varlam Kristavi. In a press conference this morning, U.S. President Bowers lauded the American people for their courage.
We were injured, we stumbled, but we did not fall. The world knows no hardship or terror that American tenacity cannot overcome. The world knows no problem that American ingenuity cannot solve. And so I
Dad,
extend my
what's so
deepest
funny?
admiration to every
Nothing.
U.S. citizen of the world, to every civilian and every soldier standing firm against the terror and tyrannies of wicked men. History will not forget your resolve. History will not forget your resolve.
Dad, what's going on? You haven't laughed since the Reagan administration.
It's nothing. Forget about it.
We have kept the bright
That's
flame
the secure
of
line,
American
honey.
freedom
It's for me.
burning throughout the world. May God clear our vision and strengthen our minds for the work to come. And may God bless America.
You're not leaving, are you, Dad?
Hello, Lambert.